What a week for the Seattle Mariners at the All-Star festivities. Cal Raleigh coming away with the Home Run Derby Championship. We're going to talk about how the guys did in the actual All-Star game, and then we're going to break down the Mariners draft because it's very interesting, the draft strategy that these guys went with and some of the pitchers that they picked specifically. We're going to talk about that. We're going to give the Mariners some first half awards. Who was our MVP? I think that's pretty obvious. Who was our Cy Young? That's probably pretty obvious as well, but we're going to do it anyway. And then we're going to talk about the Houston Astros series starting on Friday, the beginning of the second half. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 209 of the Hit It Here podcast, part of the Bleav Network, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Be sure to give us a 5-star review, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And this is the Buck, the Greg, and the Mini Galen episode of the podcast. You guys went crazy in the stream that was right after the Home Run Derby. Buck with like a $200 donation. We had a couple of $50. We got one from Greg, one from Mini Galen. Also, all the people that donated and gifted memberships in this one as well. Just a lot of fun. I do want to say, if you guys want to celebrate the Cal Raleigh Home Run Derby, you can use the link below from Breaking Tea to get one of these really cool Cal Raleigh Home Run Derby shirts. There's one with him and Griffey. There's one with like how much further he hit the ball than Brent Rooker, which is hilarious. There's just a Home Run Derby champ one. Breaking Tea kind of went off with all of these shirts, so be sure to check that link in the description below. I know I'm going to get one. Joe, how you feeling after the week that the Mariners just had?
Couldn't have asked for a better way for the first half to end and start the second half, I don't think. Given some context, yes, like, oh, the Yankees, I don't care anymore. I do care, but like I don't. You know what I mean? You swept the Tigers, and then Cal wins the Home Run Derby, and then everyone gets in to the All-Star game, right? Every single Mariners representative gets in there, all had some sort of exciting thing to do during the game. Like, I don't know, just a great overall weekend for the festivities and to celebrate the Mariners. And it feels like a good omen, I think, for things to have gone as well as they did, just from kind of like manifesting positive vibes, if that makes sense. I still don't know how I understanding my emotions watching Cal Raleigh in the Home Run Derby. I don't know if I've like fully processed really what happened. All I know is when he won, and then everything goes to social media, whatever. The Home Run Derby champ, like his video of him, like I literally cried listening to like that
so
over
cool.
again. Just like that full circle moment, like his brother and his dad, like it's just cool. Really awesome stuff. It's a weird spot to be into as a Mariners fan with like social media and like other fandoms calling things rigged in our favor, which is something that has not happened in my lifetime, I don't think. So that's always an interesting caveat of it. But yeah, just you mentioned you tweeted it, like best All-Star experience watched on a TV. Obviously you were there when it was in Seattle. I was not. And this is, I think, the first time I've had a chance I don't think I was able to watch the Derby last year because I was working. I was able to watch it this year. I didn't get to watch the full thing of the All-Star game, but I got to pay attention to more of the important stuff, which was the end of the game, I think, where the American League kind of started fighting back. And that was, like, it was a fun All-Star weekend throughout, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. I will say with the Home Run Derby, I was just like, man, like, I don't care how Cal does, as long as he, is competitive. If he gets knocked out, so be it. Like, I'm just proud of the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with Brent Rooker, I'm like, that's like, it feels kind of weird. But at the same time, Cal put on a way better show than I think Rooker would have.
In the last two rounds,
later rounds, I think Rooker would be happy that if anybody wanted, it was Cal after beating him by an inch, which is a lot, by the way. More than enough.
Like, I don't understand why they're downplaying how big an inch really is.
Right.
Honestly.
More than enough. Yeah, and then Cal, of course, going into that final round versus Junior Caminero, I was like, Caminero has looked so good. And he's been just smooth, and he didn't look like he was tired at all. And then, the pressure was on him. I was worried with Cal going first in that round because it's like a lot of times, you know, you want to go second. You want to know how many you have to hit. You want to
Mhm.
be able to kind of walk it off. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Cal was able to hold on there at the very end, which was so fun to see. In the All-Star game, I mean, I honest to God thought that in Cal's first at bat, I thought he got it. I thought he hit it out.
Sure.
Like that was so funny.
That was off of Kershaw, right?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Kershaw said, "Suck it, big dumper," walking
Yeah.
back into the dugout, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
Cal swearing when
With
he was
the
mic'd up in the first
Yeah,
inning,
with
so
Scooble,
funny.
like the pitch to Otani, just yeah, it's
Yeah.
good stuff, good quality stuff.
Yeah, when it comes to this All-Star week, the Mariners were all over it. The Mariners, I feel like, played a man. Maybe, of course, we're biased, right? But they played a massive role in All-Star week. Obviously, with the draft, with the home run derby, with the All-Star game. Randy getting into the swing off. I mean, hit a home run in that one. What am I missing? You look like I'm
Humpy,
missing something. Oh, Humpy. Yeah, that's right.
Humpy.
Humpy was there.
When the salmon run thing was announced, I was like, if they let Humpy into the All Star festivities and he wins, he was never going to. Whatever the race, I didn't see exactly what it was. If it was like a mascot race across like a bunch
It
of
was.
teams, okay. Interesting that they do Humpy instead of the moose, but like I get why, because it's a salmon race. But
Mhm.
yeah, Humpy made it to the All Star game is hilarious.
Yeah, I think it would have been poetic if he would have won it.
Hell
Because
no,
it's like he's only an away racer. He can't race at home, but when
no.
he's away, he's like like he wins it by like a mile.
I would have never forgiven the Seattle Mariners. Like their on-field activities department, whatever, like the promotional type things, I would have never forgiven them ever again. I would have boycotted every salmon race from here on out. Anytime I'm at a game, I would close my eyes, I would turn away, I would go to the bathroom, I would forego every single race if they had let Humpy win in Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's that
Okay.
serious for me, man.
We take the salmon run seriously here. Something that you and I took pretty seriously to start off the All-Star week was the draft. Now, obviously, in our last episode of the podcast, we talked about the first 4 picks, right? That is Cade Anderson, Luke Stevenson, Nick Becker, and Grant Hugges. I still don't know how to pronounce his name. But the Mariners had 17 more selections in this draft and some notable ones. I want to say, just as an overall wrap up of this draft before we really get into it, the Mariners selected, of their 21 selections, 13 pitchers, and every single one of them except for one was a college pitcher. In fact, the Mariners only drafted 2 high school players in this entire draft. One, their second selection in Nick Becker, the shortstop, and then the second one was their 19th round selection in Cameron Appenzeller,
Mhm.
a left-handed pitcher who's actually already committed to Tennessee, right? And
Yeah.
he's already said he's going. So.
Yeah, he was the 58th ranked prospect on MLB Pipeline, and it seemed like the Mariners were trying to save a decent chunk of change and really go over slot and try and get him to sign with them instead of go to Tennessee by the way that they kind of navigated rounds, like 6 through 18, or like so a lot of the middle rounds into the later rounds. But I saw Jage quote something about his idea of like why they drafted the way that they did and trying to nab him. And then there was a follow-up tweet that he responded and quoted with about a Tennessee Vols like reporting account, whatever, saying that Appenzeller and then another prospect that's unrelated would make their way to campus in Tennessee. So the 19th round pick, 58th overall prospect on MLB Pipeline for the draft will not be making it to Seattle. So, maybe next year they draft him and see if they just double down in that regard. But there's a reason why I think they went with a lot of the college arms and like a lot of like the senior arms to try and save some money to maybe snag him and maybe have another Ryan Sloan moment. Of course, much different, where you drafted them, one in the 50 with the 55th pick, the other with like the 600th pick. But yeah, the draft overall, the later rounds, very, very interesting to think about. Only 2 high schoolers the entire draft.
And I think that was a big plan for the Mariners. You and I both agreed they should like kind of focus on arms in this draft. And they did. Again, 13 pitchers. They selected 2 shortstops, 3 catchers, and 3 outfielders in this draft. So they mainly focused on pitching, which based on the way that the farm system is right now, makes a lot of sense. when it comes to the levels at which they selected them, most of them are, 21, 22 years old, like college guys. A lot of these guys could be in the higher levels of the minor leagues over the next couple of years. And to me, this signifies the Mariners really, really going for it over the next few years. They're looking at this window of contention that they have, and they're saying over the next 5-6 years we're going to have so many guys and reinforcements that could be ready to go. A lot of these guys you could probably throw them into the bullpen at some point, like in the next couple of years, and be okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of them aren't going to just the way prospects work, a lot of them won't make it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them are not going to be major leaguers at some point, but there's some interesting names in here. I do just want to go over the other players in this draft after the top four. We'll just start with the top four. So Cade Anderson, we all know he was number one. You've heard us talk about Cade quite a bit. Luke Stevenson, a very interesting pick there. Somebody that we feel might be replacing Harry Ford, maybe even as early as this trade deadline. Nick Becker, a shortstop from Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey. This is a guy that we got a video tweeted at us from someone who's covered Nick Becker quite a bit, and it was Nick Becker talking about what the Mariners are going to get and how they're going to get a guy who's going to go out there and compete every day, and he thinks he's going to make an all-star team one day. And I think that that's the kind of confidence that you look for, especially in like a high school bat. He was drafted with the 57th overall pick, I Bleav.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Griffin Huggas, a pitcher, left-handed pitcher. I'm sorry, a right-handed pitcher from Miami. Mason Peters, left-handed pitcher. Then Corbin Dickerson, an outfielder. Lucas Kelly, a right-handed pitcher. Colton Shaw, a senior out of Yale, a right-handed pitcher. What is this guy's last name? Dan Macchiarola out of Holy Cross.
Nailed that
He's a
one.
right-handed pitcher. Jackson Stensma out of Appalachian State. He's a right-handed pitcher. Isaac Lyon out of Grand Canyon University, a right-handed pitcher. Dusty Rivas, right-handed pitcher. Grant J, again, a right-handed catcher in this one. Aiden Taurick out of St. Mary's is an outfielder. He's right-handed as well. Luke Heyman, hopefully not related to John Heyman, out of Florida is a catcher, a 4-year junior. Interesting to note there as well. A bit of an older catcher there. Braden Korn, another guy that we had tweeted at us, kind of describing his coverage throughout the year. He's an outfielder. Casey Hines, a pitcher, right-handed pitcher. Anthony Caroli, a right-handed pitcher. Griffin Stieg, a right-handed pitcher. Then there's Cameron Appenzeller, who was a high schooler. We already talked about how he's going to be ended up going to Tennessee. And then Estevan Moreno out of Notre Dame is a shortstop, and he's a 4-year junior right-handed shortstop. So when you look at a lot of this, there's a lot to note here. A lot of right-handed pitching,
Mm-hmm.
which we know how good the Mariners are at developing. A lot of juniors and seniors in college. And then a few lefties. Mason Peters was a lefty. Obviously, Cade Anderson, a left-handed pitcher in there. Had the Mariners been able to sign Cameron Appenzeller, he would have been a left-handed pitcher there. The Mariners are in the process of feeling comfortable trading away some of their pitching, whether that be, Logan Evans or Emerson Hancock this year, or maybe one of the bigger guys in the offseason of Bryce Miller, Brian Wu. This draft specifically, to me, I think the Mariners absolutely nailed it. And I feel like we can never go against what Scott Hunter does. I trust him. And the fact that the Mariners come away with a very clear plan in this draft makes me feel pretty good.
I'm trying to find something specifically that I saw, and it was about Grant J, the catcher that they drafted out of Dallas Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who it was, and I thought it was Kick Dirt, who is a guy who's in the Mariners community, but also does broad baseball stuff, known for like catching analytics. I thought it was him, but maybe I'm wrong. Had Luke Stevenson and Grant J as like his two top catchers in the draft.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know if it was him or not, and I'm not finding it, and I'm sad. But I remember, I thought I saw something like that. Regardless, it's another catcher added into the farm system where catching depth is sometimes hard to come by, and quality catching depth is another thing that if you have it, you can sense it within the organization. It does not felt that way for the Mariners for I think a while. Of course, with Cal Raleigh turning into the great player that he is, I think impacts that with how Harry Ford has looked at during his developmental path. Like also helps with that, but it only got better this weekend after the draft. And again, something that you said even before they drafted Cade Anderson, right? Is we didn't know who they were going to pick, but you said, dare I say, I trust Scott Hunter no matter what, kind of a thing. The rest of this draft, I think, just kind of emulates that. Like, yeah, I trust that this team and the people in charge of that know what they're doing. One thing I do want to note that I don't think we've said on the podcast specifically is that Cade Anderson will not pitch this year.
Mm-hmm.
He is not going to make his Mariners debut until 2026. So I guess like if you really want to count a debut, get spring training tickets now. But also like as far as minor leagues, I imagine he maybe starts in Everett next year and then works his way into Arkansas like in the middle of the year, just depending on how he goes. But that kind of, I think, finishes up the draft for the most part.
Yeah, I do want to say, I think I found the tweet that you were talking about from Kick Dirt. He says, really, really intrigued with Seattle drafting 2 top college catchers in Luke Stevenson and Grant J. Catching depth outside of Ford is nothing to write home about at the moment. This gives them 2 elite guys. Jay may be a bigger project defensively, but both really promising. I don't know if that's the tweet you're talking about.
That sounds exactly right, but I just couldn't find it in. Like, I see one where it just says Kick Dirt Baseball approved as like a quote tweet, but nothing else that I'm seeing right like immediately. But that sounds right, which I think is, another testimonial about the guys that they drafted.
It really does feel like the Mariners are gearing up to potentially trade Harry Ford and kind of reset the clock on another catcher to be able to come up in a couple of years, because Harry Ford's knocking on the door right now and there's frankly just not room for him. And, maybe at the trade deadline this year, the Mariners trade him. I don't know. Joe and I have our trade deadline plan video coming out either Friday or Saturday. Be sure to check that out. Maybe we trade Harry Ford in that. I don't know. Be sure to be subscribed for that. But it's time, Joe, for us to give the Seattle Mariners some first half awards. I think it's pretty obvious who some of them are, right? MVP,
Cal Raleigh.
It's obviously Cal Raleigh. I mean, he's probably the MVP in all of baseball. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cy Young, I mean, it's definitely got to be Brian Wu.
I think Brian Wu. I think number 2, you'd probably give it to Andres Munoz.
Yep.
But yeah, Wu has been the pillar of consistency.
An interesting one for you. How about Rookie of the Year? Because there have been quite Ben Williamson, Cole Young, Logan Evans has been in there as well. Carlos Vargas has been in there. There's quite a few rookies on this Mariners team. I think that one of them stands out above the rest, but I'm interested to hear your take.
I don't actually know. I would probably give it to. I don't think Cole Young's played enough and played well enough. Not that he's played poorly, but like I don't think he's done enough to take over it from. I think I'd go with Ben Williamson, just like being thrust into it a little bit earlier than maybe expected, playing great defense at third base. Yeah, the offense isn't there all the time, but there's been bright moments. I could see an argument for Evans though. I don't know if Vargas. I could see it, but my rankings, I'd probably go Williamson, Evans, Young, Vargas, personally.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm giving it to Cole Young.
Really?
Oh yeah. He's been so ever since his start of the season of 1 for 19, he has had like a 130 WRC plus.
Yeah.
He's hitting like 280 with a couple of home runs, and great defense. Yeah, I got to give that to Cole Young. Ben Williamson's been great, but yeah, Cole Young has just been better.
I mean, I guess the question is, are you team Christopher Sanchez or team Jacob Misiorowski in this conversation?
Jacob Misiorowski.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would be Christopher Sanchez.
Jacob Misiorowski's cool.
And Cole Young's cool. Therefore, he should have the award.
Right. Yeah. I think, again, there's plenty of guys that you could talk about in here and I think that you can make a case for almost all of them. But for me, what Cole Young has done to solidify second base, I mean, I have in my trade deadline plan, full disclosure, I don't have the Mariners getting a second baseman. I don't. I have Cole Young as the second baseman moving forward.
Yeah.
So I think that he's just the guy. How about
manager of the year?
Andres Munoz, manager of the year. You know what? When Dan Wilson got thrown out and it was Manny Acta, I go Manny Acta. How about defensive player of the year? I feel like that one
Julio.
you gotta give. Interesting. Not Ben Williamson.
Nah, Julio. He's been the best defender in all of baseball.
Interesting.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll go with that. I will concede that Julio has, obviously he's had a mishap here or there, but Ben Williamson has been incredible at
Yeah.
third base, like making plays we've never seen before. But Julio's been very good.
I think the start that Ben Williamson had is like there was more mishaps in that first like say like week of games than Julio's had the entire season. I think Julio's had 2 like misplays, maybe 3. And Williamson had 3 in those first 7 games. Not to, discredit him. He has been very good at third base, but I think Julio has to have it. He's on track to maybe win the Platinum Glove.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I could certainly see that out there. How about unsung hero? I feel like this is an interesting one because the Mariners always have quite a few unsung heroes. Because, well, frankly, they don't normally have a lot of guys that are playing well. So this one's hard for me.
I think it's the guy that's getting his name called every single day. I think it's Edward Bizardo.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Dan Wilson's golden child out of the pen. A guy that we didn't know if he would have a spot in the bullpen this year, and he's thrown the most innings out of that bullpen. I think it goes to him. Not to say that there's not someone on the offensive side of the ball that
if you had to go offense, who would it be?
It's hard because I think it's JP.
Yeah.
I think so. Like Randy, yes, has been scorched earth hot, but I think JP, didn't know where he was like gonna fit in with how poor he was last year, and has really like solidified himself as like, yep, I'm still here. I'm still that guy for the most part.
I was thinking like I almost want to go Dom Canzone.
Sure.
But like it's just, again, it's another one of those scenarios like, has he played enough?
Yeah, you got another Jacob Mizorowski.
He has been, ever since he came back up,
Very
exactly what this team needed. So yeah, there's a lot of different guys that I think that makes sense for unsung hero. But what else we got?
The Astros series coming up.
Yeah. You know what? The award for most important series of the year, it gets moved every single series to the next series.
Yep.
This series versus the Houston Astros is massive, low taper fade massive. All right. The Houston Astros are 5 games up on your Seattle Mariners. You're playing them at home. And because you're coming out of the All-Star break, both teams can reset their pitching rotation to have their best guys going. What?
Nothing. You're fine.
Oh, don't do that. They can
just continue.
They can reslot their pitching rotation to have whoever they want against each other. Obviously, Framber Valdez will go in game 1 for the Astros. I highly doubt that it's going to be Brian Wu. Nothing's been announced yet. But when you look at the probables grid over on Fangraphs, it does have Luis Castillo going in this game, which I think makes sense because Logan threw in the Sunday game. So it would be, I think, Saturday would be the first day for him on a 5-day rest. They have listed in game 2, Joe, Lance McCullers for the Astros versus George Kirby. Now, frankly, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I think
Logan goes there.
The Mariners should throw Castillo, Gilbert, Wu.
Mm-hmm.
The order to me doesn't fully matter, but there's an order that makes sense given the last time that they all pitched. Mm-hmm. Castillo makes the most sense to go game 1. You mentioned it wouldn't make sense for Gilbert to throw game 1 since he pitched on Sunday, so therefore he goes game 2 and gets 6 days rest. And then Wu, coming off the All-Star game, should pitch game 3. He started his last start was on Thursday against the Yankees. Yes, he threw an inning, broke his 6-inning. I'm just kidding. It doesn't actually count. It's an exhibition game at most, right, guys?
Right.
So Wu should go the final game because that gives the Mariners the best chance to win every single day. Not to say that Kirby is not good. He's pitched pretty well. It's just you need to
Who's
have
been better?
Wu needs to throw in this series against the Astros because yeah, you're 5 games back, but coming out of the break, starting the second half on the right foot is like very, very important. One, to keep up the momentum and the good vibes that you've had throughout the entire All-Star week. And you don't want to forget what happened against the Tigers. Like, you want to continue to be able to emulate that style of series, offensively at least, and vibes at least. Pitching, there's some moments maybe you don't want to have the pitching come back, but yeah, for the Astros perspective, I'm interested that McCullers gets game 2, but
And not Hunter Brown.
who is slated as game 3. So again, a lot of this can change by the time the series starts on Friday. Maybe even today that you're hearing this, Daniel Kramer or Adam Jude or someone will have Mariners probables listed ahead of the Astros series. Dan Wilson has confirmed, kind of a thing. But in my head, I agree that it should be Castillo, Gilbert, and then Wu, because that does give you the best chance to win the series, I'd say.
After this 6-game homestand, so the Mariners take on the Astros, then they take on the Brewers, who have been quite good as well.
Yeah.
You have 15 games versus teams that are currently below or at 500. You have to take advantage of those 15 games. You're going to be playing the White Sox, the Athletics, the Angels, the Rangers, teams like that. You need to take advantage of that. But if you can come away from this 6-game homestand with a 3-3 record, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with 3 and I would prefer 4-2. That'd be a great homestand. Come away with a 3-3 record, preferably all 3 games that you win are versus the Astros, because then you're only 2 games back in the division. Preferably they're versus the Astros, but come away 3-3, and I feel pretty good about where the Mariners are at.
Yeah, the Astros heading into the break went 4-6 their last 10. They were one of the best teams in all of baseball for about a month and a half. They probably were the best team record-wise. Kind of went limping into the break, I'd say, whereas the Mariners, they looked like they were going to, and then they went out and swept the Tigers. The Mariners were 6-4 in their last 10. I think, yeah, I mean, the best case scenario is a series sweep against Houston, but the likelihood of that happening is not the highest necessarily. I think it was either Codify, someone tweeted, maybe it was like TJ Stats or something. Strength of schedule the rest of the way. I think the Mariners were 21st, the Astros were 18th. So if you can pick up a game, maybe even 2 in this series, I think that can go a long way for what it looks like the rest of the season for you, is like the dogfight for the division kind of continues. It looked like the Astros were going to run away with it for a while with how poor the Mariners looked in that stretch from, I think, maybe just like the entire month of June. Yeah. Right? Call it a stretch. How about a month? A month of bad baseball. It looked like the Astros were going to run away with it, but it's a 162 game season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. These 3 games are very, very important. I'd say this is a series that you should sprint through, though. This is not a marathon series. Like, there are certain moments where you're going to find yourself through a full 162. Like, okay, this is where you have to ramp up and give 110% effort every single time. And people say, like, they should play like that every game. Yeah, duh.
Then they'll get hurt.
But like, also, it's just like
game season.
The expectation of like 162-0, like the reality is not that. If there was ever a 3-game set to play like you can go 162-0, it is against the division leading Astros coming out of the All-Star break, where you just had maybe the best 5-day stretch in Mariners recent history, it felt like.
Yep. Yeah, I think that you have to ride the wave of what you're coming off of going into that second half. You're at home. You're bringing home the boys from the All-Star game. I know that Julio wanted to be out of it and whatnot. I wish he was there.
I don't know if he wanted to be out of it, but like, I don't. The word "want" there is interesting to me.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. Like, he made that decision on his own accord, kind of a thing, to like for the betterment of himself in a way. But wanted to not be in it doesn't. That seems not right. But again, I think it's just like a word choice.
Yeah. More so, he wanted to be ready to go for the second half. Yeah.
Yes.
But I just think it would have been so fun if he had been there too with the guys. I don't care if he picked up a bat or threw a ball at all.
Yeah.
Just if he would have been there, like cheering on Cal, that would have been so fun. But nonetheless, this series versus the Astros, you win this series, you're looking pretty good, right? If you win the series, 2 of 3, you're 3 games back of the Astros. You lose this series, all of a sudden you're 7 games back of the Astros. And God forbid you get swept, you're 8 games back of the Astros. There has not been a more important series to set the tone this entire season than this 3-game set right here, right now. I don't give a damn. If you go out there and you sweep the Astros, I could care less if you get swept by the Brewers. I don't care. I don't care. Go out there, take care of business versus the Astros. I Bleav, is this the last time the Mariners face the Astros this year? They might face them one more time. Yeah. Check the old schedule. You got it just right in front of you, huh?
Yes.
I think it might be the last time they face them this year.
Let's see. I'm not.
There may be one more.
There is one more series in Houston. The third to last. It goes Houston, Colorado, Dodgers to finish out the season.
Fun.
So
real fun way to finish.
You get a real high in Houston. You come home and play the Rockies, who's like, who knows what at that point they're gonna look like, and then you got to play the Dodgers. So like, huge roller coaster to end the year.
When you look at the season series so far, what?
We play in Kauffman right before Houston.
Oh, God. It's chalked. It's why we should just end the podcast, you know? We're not going to do that. The season series, I Bleav, belongs to the Astros right now, 4-3, if I remember correctly. The magic number is 7. You got to win 7 games in the season series to take the season series. The Mariners got to win 4 of these next 8 games versus the Astros, or 4 of these next 6 games.
Yeah.
Versus the Astros to take that season series. It's going to be a dogfight, man. I'm looking forward to it, but that's going to do it from us here on episode 209 of the Hit It Here podcast. We appreciate you guys watching this one. Let's get ready for the second half and go Mariners.